Do you have a favorite park that you're like?
My favorite ballpark to watch a game is Fenway. It's a great place it's actually the worst to play in, the best to watch in.
Really?
The mound is super flat, so for a pitcher it sucks, and the left field wall is 300 feet away, 295 feet away. So as a fan, that's my favorite. My favorite to pitch in is actually probably Toronto. They get their Labatt's blue and they get pretty crazy up there and they yell and scream at you, but they really are kind people. And the mound in Toronto is like really big, but I never had a clock to restrain me. So I've had a few pitchers say, no, like, hey, it's harder. Like you have to get going and you don't get to take that deep breath and kind of relax and step back from a struggle. You have to just keep firing pitches. In that regard, it is challenging, but I think it's a great rule that was instituted by Major League Baseball. And I think it's provided a better product on the field for the most part.
Because what was that, 2 years ago that they put it in and the ratings were the highest they've ever been, just because
ratings have gone up, attendance has gone up the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So those are the things that Major League Baseball wanted to create. And so far that, along with other changes, has created the outcome they were looking for. To become your best version of yourself doesn't mean that the way I did it is going to help you. And I think that's valuable. I think that's valuable from a coach. Certainly it's valuable from a parent. Can we, and my wife does this better than anybody. She parents every one of our kids different. This son is different than this son, and this daughter is different from this daughter. And so that would probably be my advice to myself, both as a teacher and as a learner. Like, learn who you are, respect how everybody else is as well, and try to be someone that's improving each day, but also as someone that supports and helps somebody else become who and what they want to become as well.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the inaugural episode. Jeremy didn't believe that, but
I thought this was episode 100, but
no,
first one. So here
first one, important one, easy guest. Our first episode of Washed Up. I'm your host, Eric Mika. I'm joined.
It's called Washed Up too.
Yeah. Yeah, we never told you that, huh? I think I got Jeremy here under false pretenses, but it's called Washed Up. I'm your host, Eric Mika. I'm joined by co-host Alex Kuresa. And TJ Haws. Good to have you guys here. Thanks for showing up on time, Alex.
Always.
But yeah, we're here with Jeremy Guthrie, legendary baseball player. Played for a second at BYU. Finished his college career at Stanford. Played, was it 13 years in the
parts of 13 seasons? Yeah,
parts of 13 seasons in the big leagues. Done a lot of cool things since that we'll jump into. But we're grateful to have you twice. We've gotten you here twice. This is
actually technically the second episode.
Yeah, that was that's
the first one with functioning cameras.
That's right.
Good.
We had a dry run, but we made it work. And Jeremy was good to come back a second time. He just enjoyed the conversation so much.
It was good. We probably peaked too early last week.
Yeah.
But
I think that's right.
We're back for
Eric's
something
used
good.
to that. Also, the big leagues is
Ouch.
the big leagues is like the coolest name for a league. Like the NBA, you call it, everyone's like the league. Big leagues
that is true.
That is the coolest.
Well, that's not even the best name for it. The best name for the big leagues is the show.
Yeah,
that is
I was going to say.
So I mean,
I knew something.
Cooler than
I knew something TJ was saying was wrong. The show. Yeah, that's dope because there was you have guys getting pulled up to the show, to the big leagues often because of how the farm system works, and I want to talk to you about that because you spent some time doing that. And there was a BYU player that was pulled up this year by Cleveland, right? And I remember he got his first hit, I think in his first game maybe, and they do the whole welcome to the show, which is like
so sick.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. All right, well, before we get into that, we're gonna do some rapid fire, just kind of get the ball rolling. The first one is a personal favorite of mine. It's something that us three have talked about a little bit. TJ's not gonna like my answer, but what is the biggest animal that you could kill with your bare hands? You're out and by the way, you're in the wilderness, you're hiking. So what is out there is available to you?
I think we can take a deer down. If we can get on the ground, I've never even hunted before.
No, this is not a we thing. This is a you thing.
Yeah, me thing. I mean, I've never hunted before, but I think if you can get a deer down, you could snap a few limbs and probably fine. I mean, right, those are skinny legs. I'm thinking about skinny legs, and
that's pressure.
If they can't run, then they're probably done. So that's a deer.
Okay. What about predator?
Oh, what predator animal?
Yeah. I'm thinking realistic. Something is coming at you. A deer's not really coming at you, so.
I don't know, probably a dog.
Big wolf.
A big wolf.
Big
Jesus.
I'm just saying what
Oh
he
my
said.
God,
I
are
didn't say
you kidding
that. for me.
You know how big wolves are?
Well, wait to hear Eric's answer. It's terrible.
No, it's not. I said a cougar.
Like, what are we talking? Like a fully grown cougar?
Yeah, no,
How big are
a
cougars?
child
BYU
cougar. Huh?
A BYU
No,
cougar?
not a BYU cougar.
How big are cougars?
Cosmo in the wild.
Cosmo. You might take down Cosmo. That's the cougar.
I looked it up.
You're not taking down Cosmo, bro. Cosmo's whooping Eric's butt, bro. Let me censor that.
Good
real
sense.
quick.
Good censor. Yeah.
Cosmo.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Cosmo's.
The dude does 8,000 push-ups every day.
First of all, there's
He's
more than-
flying through
first
the
of all,
air.
It depends which Cosmo you catch.
There's
I
more
caught
than
one
one.
at the BYU game a couple weeks ago. He had him for sure.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm not going to say the date because I don't want to call any Cosmo out.
For
There
sure.
was-
But he knows.
How many
Take it
Cosmos?
down.
The
are
specific
rotating?
Cosmo knows.
There's a few, yeah.
There's no
you know
need
who
to-
you are. Cosmo.
You know which one you are. No, any Cosmo. They're gym.
Any Cosmo.
They're built.
To be clear, I can take all the Cosmos down.
Any Cosmo any day. They're not. They're
Okay,
not
how many
taking-
Cosmos is it going to take to, like, how many Cosmos at a time is it going to take?
I don't know. 3.
3.
To what? Bring
What?
Eric down?
Yeah. So
Like,
Cosmos are on a podcast right now. They're like, how many of us is it going to take to beat up Eric Mika?
They're gonna say 1. That's what podcasts are for.
Okay.
Hype yourself up. I'm not gonna sit here and go, yeah, Cosmo could take
So
me,
you-
or 2
okay,
Cosmos
that
could
makes
take 3.
All right.
It takes 3. And I could get a cougar 1. I checked with ChatGPT, and it has happened.
You're like,
Humans-
can I take down a
No,
cougar?
I said, can
It's like,
people?
yeah, Eric, you can.
So the biggest cougar is like 220 pounds. So I'm a little bit heavier than that right now. So I got the weight. And you think I grab a couple rocks, and it's happened before. What are you looking at?
You
You're
said-
typing
you
in
said-
ChatGPT?
You said you're a little bit bigger than right now.
We're not talking about my weight right now. I'm on the way down. Okay. It's not easy. I got a big frame. Okay. I'm a husky. So I grab a big rock, a little rock. It says you go for the neck, you go for the eyes, all the things you think of anyways.
That's a good point.
Why do you not like that, DJ? You had such a reaction to it earlier.
No, I just don't think you could. That's all.
You'd want me to get killed by the cougar.
No, that's not
what
what
I'm
I said
hearing.
either. I just-
All right. Well, what's your answer?
I don't know. I don't know yet. Come back to me.
Alex?
Probably like it's got to be a cat of some sort, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not beating a wolf in a fight.
No, wolves
They're
are different to
huge.
me than cougars.
For sure.
So, yeah, I'm probably like a coyote, maybe. Are they bigger than a dog?
Depends. Not necessarily.
They're smaller than like a big dog.
Yeah, they're smaller than big dogs.
Okay, so it goes
German
Eric.
Shepherdish, but even maybe smaller sometimes.
Yeah.
So Eric's the biggest one, then Jeremy, then you, then TJ is what I'm hearing.
Well, the biggest one that's said, I can just say gorilla or something like if you want. Like I can just say like
You could have, but that's
just saber-toothed tiger.
that opportunity passed. All right, fine. Well, I think that's a good answer. All right, next question, rapid fire. The best professional league in the world right now. Like best product, best thing to watch.
Oh, for me, it's baseball. I love watching baseball.
All right, not
Big
for you.
leagues.
Oh,
Unbiased.
Oh, baseball. For everyone else.
Do you know what unbiased means?
But you can't be unbiased. I can't take
No,
the
that's-
bias out of me.
That's true.
I like watching baseball the best. It's the best league for me.
Why is it the best? Why is it the best product? Why does it beat out the NFL, NBA?
It's unpredictable. Every game's different. There's no timer. Fields are a little bit more unique. It just kind of got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of this up here, but it's got a ton of physicality as well. So I just love it.
That is a crazy concept I've always thought about. Like, can you imagine in a basketball game, you're like, hey, we're playing at Colorado this week. Their corner threes about 8 feet shorter. So let's
Exactly.
get a few more corner threes over here. Like, or the south end zone is 64 yards. We're going there. Like,
Hey, second half, when we're going, to the west, it's only 7 feet, 7 yards deep instead of 10. So
Yep.
make sure your routes are sharper and crisper.
that is a weird
Or
dynamic.
there's a wobbly line on the end zone. Like, hey, let's run to the right side because it's a little bit shorter to get to the end zone.
Do you have a favorite park that you're like?
My favorite ballpark to watch a game is Fenway. It's a great place it's actually the worst to play in, the best to watch in.
Really?
The mound is super flat. So for a pitcher, it sucks. And the left field wall is 300 feet away, 295 feet away. So as a fan, that's my favorite. My favorite to pitch in is actually probably Toronto. I love pitching in Toronto. I love the Canadian exuberance, if you will. They get their Labatt's blue and they get pretty crazy up there and they yell and scream at you, but they really are kind people. And the mound in Toronto is like really big, like Mount McKinley big.
So did you get to pitch in all of the stadiums?
No, I did not pitch. I've pitched, I think, in 30 stadiums, but that's because I pitched in the Metrodome, which is now Target Field in Minneapolis, pitched in Old Yankee Stadium as well as new.
Awesome.
But I never pitched in Los Angeles for the Dodgers. I went to Dodger Stadium, never pitched there, never pitched at Citi Field in New York or Shea Stadium, and never pitched in Miami in either park. I went to both Pro Player Stadium as well as the new ballpark and never pitched in either of those either. So 3 cities / ballparks I never pitched in.
As far as like product, I mean, I just thought of it because you were saying there's no timer, there's no clock. It's 48 minutes for the NBA, right? But there is a pitching clock. That's a new thing. What do you think? What is your take on that? Because I don't know anything about baseball. I'm not a big enough fan to have an opinion. But like, what do baseball players feel about it?
From all I've heard, the players, I do think it speeds the game up.
Right.
So from a fan's perspective, and even from a player's perspective, they like that. No player wants to finish a game at 10:45 p.m. and go home at 11:30. Like they want the game to be quick as well.
Yeah.
But obviously, when you're in the competition, you're not going to sacrifice speed so that you can speed the game up. But the pitch clock has required that to be a necessary thing now. And so, I felt like I worked quickly when I pitched myself, but I never had a clock to restrain me. So I've had a few pitchers say, hey, it's harder. Like you have to get going and you don't get to take that deep breath and kind of relax and step back from a struggle. You have to just keep firing pitches. In that regard, it is challenging, but I think it's a great rule that was instituted by Major League Baseball. And I think it's provided a better product on the field for the most part.
Yeah. I know ratings were like, because what was that, 2 years ago that they put it in, and the ratings were the highest they've ever been just because.
Ratings have gone up, attendance has gone up the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So those are the things that Major League Baseball wanted to create. And so far that, along with other changes, has created the outcome they were looking for.
Do you watch a lot of NBA?
I don't watch a ton of NBA. NBA is probably my least favorite of the 4 or 5 professional sports. If you want to talk soccer, hockey. Football, basketball, baseball, it's probably 3rd or 4th for me.
Would you watch it more if it was shorter and if there were less
No,
games?
for me, it's not a length thing. I just, the game is different. Obviously, it's been discussed 10 times over. I just don't enjoy watching the style of play any longer that I used to watch. And it's tougher for me I don't know the players as well. I really appreciated the way the college system was before, where you watch someone, in college play 3 and usually 4 years, and then you were attached to them, and then they went to the NBA, and you're like, oh, how are they going to play in the NBA?
Right,
and they were connected to another player who had been in the NBA for 10 years. It's just, we're old school, so everyone's going to look at, oh, that's the way it used to be. That's the way you want it to be again. But that really attracted me to professional basketball in the old days, and it just doesn't exist any longer. And so I think that kind of just pulls me away from it.
Are we about to get back to that though? More in 3 and 4 year
Not at the same school though. I think
which
you mean
still
because guys are getting paid?
Yeah,
they're staying, but
well, it's also
Transfer
arguably
portal.
more beneficial, at least from a football standpoint. You look at guys like Jaden Daniel and Bo Nix and how much more prepared they were,
for sure.
and they were in college for 18 years.
It's true.
Yeah,
Football's
it's
different
basketball
'cause-
too. It's Dalton Connect on the Lakers, right? He was JUCO before he went to Tennessee, so he was there a long time. He learned how to win. He built himself good habits that now he can translate and help win at the next level. Even though the Lakers aren't great, sorry, but
Why? Sorry, me.
because you're a Lakers fan, obviously.
I'm a Kobe fan.
You have Lakers gear,
What Lakers gear do I have?
probably Kobe stuff.
I do have Kobe jersey.
What Lakers do you have? Kobe Yates.
I do have Kobe jersey.
Yeah,
right.
okay. You make hats that have LA on them. That's a safe
But
assumption
snake,
that you're.
and it's called
It's a safe
the
assumption.
Mamba collection. It's just
I don't know all the names of your
it
collection.
just
I'm sorry.
says "Long Live Mamba."
Yeah. All right. Well, no, I totally agree. The longer you're in college, the more you are prepared. I guess that's not like the rule, but it can help, a lot of different players in their development. So it will be interesting to see. I do think though, who knows, for sure when this settlement happens, no one really knows how it's going to shake out, who the governing body is going to be and what rules are going to be imposed and what rules are actually going to be followed. But I do think there will be some structural changes to contracts that players sign. I would imagine that schools get smarter about, hey, you get a big lump sum after you're here for 4 years or 2 years, or the longer you're here, the higher it goes, right? It's like X amount year one. I know there's some schools, I know, BYU volleyball does something like that, whatever's legal right now. But yeah, they've got to figure that out, because I agree. It's way more fun when it's not like, okay, where else has this guy been? It's like, this is school 5. We've seen like 5 or 6 with these guys that have played a long time.
You lose fans in college pretty quick when that happens.
Yeah.
Too. It's like, I have no idea who this team is. I don't know any of these guys. They're all one and dones, and they're not really here because they want to be at this school or whatever.
Right.
It's like, I'm just here because I'm getting paid and I'm on to my next spot. That's difficult for a lot of people.
That's true. All right. Last question to get this thing started. You and I have,
you guys not answering the last question? Just me?
what was the last?
Favorite
Oh,
league?
the best league?
Best league to watch.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. Start with Teach. Alex, what are your thoughts?
I think the NBA's garbage right now. I enjoy playoff baseball more than anything. But I guess on like a weekly basis, I would say the NFL.
You don't have to say that just because Jeremy's here.
What?
Are you nervous?
For what?
You want to get him to like you?
Baseball. I went to the World Series this year. It was the dopest experience I've had from a sports
He
standpoint.
didn't.
Game 1, I was there.
Probably went to the LA ones if I had to guess.
Yeah.
I did.
LA fan.
Yeah.
I am a Dodgers fan, actually. So,
There we
He
go.
makes Dodgers gear. No snake. Teach.
I mean, I know it's not really like a league, but I would put college basketball and college football in there as much as anything. I enjoy watching both of those more than most things.
I just can't watch college basketball. I just
Okay.
like a lot. I like watching,
can we just make our own questions now? Or
yeah.
Is it accurate though? I mean, would you rather watch
I actually
college
thought he was going
basketball
to go
or the
outside.
NBA?
I thought he was going to go outside the big 5 sports and drop
say
like a
like
NASCAR. I know it's like I don't know.
F1.
Or like
at least he named one of the
F1's huge right
primary
now.
sports.
Drone racing.
Yeah.
that's true.
I'll tell you what I like and enjoy watching, probably 2, 3. Not that you want to know that, but I'm going to tell you anyways.
Yeah.
I love watching the PGA Tour.
Mm.
When Tiger's in it, it's like number 1. When Tiger's not in it, it's still very high. And I love watching tennis. Ever since I was a kid, I used to sit there and watch majors tennis every weekend that it was available. I would sit there and watch every single match, ladies and men.
But you didn't play?
Nope, never played tennis, never played golf growing up either. I mean, I play a little bit now. I'm not very good, but
Interesting.
love watching both.
Yeah.
I think I just appreciate the individual nature. You're on an island,
Yeah.
competition one-on-one. I appreciate the fine-tuned skill that it requires to hit tennis shots and golf shots. And I think I just really, and it's just head-to-head battle. Like, it is really unique in that way that you get to see someone go head-to-head and overcome and try and beat the other person.
Did you feel like that at all as a pitcher? Because like it is kind of a weird concept to me that you're on a team, but you're on a literal island. I mean, you mentioned that for tennis, like
Yeah, I think
a lot relies on you.
That's probably why I enjoy pitching as well.
Yeah.
Because it is that kind of sentiment. Yeah, it's a
the
team
individual
sport,
feeling.
but you control it, and it's mano-y-mano until that ball's put in play.
Yeah.
So.
How much of those shots are you as the pitcher calling versus like the manager versus the catcher versus
Depends
things
what
you've
level.
talked about before?
Yeah, it depends what level. In the major leagues, typically the catcher is making the call, and that's going to be based off of the communication and the information given to the pitching coach, to him, and to the pitcher.
Yeah.
And inevitably, every one of the, you meet together with your pitching staff, if you will.
Yeah.
And you talk about plans, and your catcher knows your strengths and your weaknesses. And so he takes what the scouts have reported back, like, hey, here are the strengths and weaknesses. And then he blends that with the strength and weaknesses of the pitcher that day.
Yep.
And tries to formulate a game plan. But it's not like football where like the first 25 pitches are all mapped out, right? And you're like, okay, play 1, we're doing this is our first drive. I mean, the first pitch, yeah, you probably know what you're going to throw, but after that,
It's
it
on the
depends.
fly.
It can change really quickly. If a guy takes a different swing, maybe a hitter has a new approach that day, like suddenly you have to adapt very quickly. And the pitcher who adapts better and quicker and can execute, obviously, is going to be the one that's most successful.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chess match, if you will.
It's a chess match. Yeah, we'll get to that. You're a big individual sport kind of guy. Not Not an individual sport because you played baseball, but like the
I was
individual
up at
piece of it.
5:30 this morning trying to run a good 5-man offense. We got a little stagnant. We didn't box out. We didn't defend. And so we got beat handily the first 4 games.
Were you whooping?
I enjoy a team sport as much as anything.
Were you whooping some high schoolers again?
No, I was playing old guys that.
Is that
I like to say-
better?
Right.
No, I wasn't
The
killing
guys that
16-year-olds.
played
It was 80-year-olds.
I like to say old dudes that think they're really good, myself included. Like I put myself in that group. Old dudes that think they're good at basketball.
What could you average in high school right now? That's
That's a good question.
That's the last.
Who knows?
Icebreaker.
How do you guys feel like you're better now than you were in high school or no?
Other than like my knee not functioning, yes.
Okay. How
A
about
lot better.
For sure. Yeah. But
and why? Why do you feel like you're better?
just more experience. I feel like
I think so too,
see
right?
the
Like,
game much differently.
I think that's the way I think I feel. I never played basketball with the exception of tryouts were in November and we rolled into the season and we played until February and it was over.
Right.
And I wouldn't pick up a basketball really competitively until the next November because I played 3 sports. And so I don't think I was very good, but I felt like I was a good defender. I worked hard on the defensive end and I could shoot threes pretty well.
3 and D.
Yeah, that's
Come
it.
on.
3D. They called me 3D. They didn't actually call me that, but I like
in your
the
head,
name now.
in your head,
I
in your
wish they
head
would
they
have
did.
called me Guth 3D. That would have been sick.
Oh,
and I could have made
gosh.
signs and had shirts and hats made
It's not
on
too
my
late.
brand. Back
It is not too late.
Yeah.
You play pickup. What if you rolled
show
up
up
with
and just hand my team like some pennies, like
Yeah.
some reversable jerseys.
Hey, this is my team.
3D. We're 3D.
We're 3D. Go 3D. Go 3 on the back of all their jerseys.
But I averaged 18.5 points a game
Oh,
my
that's
senior
solid.
year on a team that went 1-15,
That's
back-to-back 1-15 dream seasons.
That's
my
6
junior
points
and
higher than
senior year.
Alex. Yeah.
So I feel like I'm better now than then. I
Yep.
understand
That's
that
not true.
setting a screen creates an opening, gives you open shots. I understand a lot better. So I think I could average. Well, it depends. In this day, I probably can average 3 because everyone wants to shoot. So I'm never going to get the ball. That's my answer.
3?
Average 3.5 points because none of my teammates are ever going to pass it to me.
After all that explanation, how much better you are, you average 18 in
because
high
I came
school,
to-
and then you're like, I'm
because I
averaging
came to
3.
This team's winning. They're 15-1. Not
I
one.
came to the
not
grim.
1-15.
I came to the grim reality that no one's going to pass me the ball and everyone's just going to shoot.
No.
'Cause that's what I see all the time.
All right, so
If
you're
you're
going
on
3.
these two's team. That's
If
what-
I got an unselfish,
I don't shoot.
shoot, no pass.
I always make the right play. I pass a lot.
yeah, so it's about the right play. You
Yeah,
shoot
it's
when
It
you're
is
open,
about the
you're
right
not.
play.
You're not.
It's about the right play.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, so now we know
No.
Jeremy's level of reality. So he's saying 3 because he's normal. So what's your inflated BS number?
What league? 6A in the
Yeah, we're saying 6A.
Well, like
Back at Lone
who's on
Peak?
my team?
Whoever's on Lone Peak right now.
current team. Father,
Okay,
Won't be nice.
not Lone Peak. That's our squad. We can't say anything.
You're back with
Yeah.
the
Can't say.
nice.
You're just with the average, not all state. You might have one all state kid. You have a
Second
couple
team-
that
he's
play
second team
AU. You have a guy like Alex in high school, so like average. So just an average high school
Oh my
team.
gosh. You just-
Don't worry, we'll get to you.
Average high school team.
Just say it.
I'm probably
50.
no. I'm probably like 32 or 33.
Oh my gosh.
He laughs at 50. He says 33.
It's like,
What?
oh no, I'm serious. I'm realistic, dude. Like 35.
No, not 50, not 50. 40.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna bring up stats and all this. Okay,
Bring him up.
I'm not
We
going
know
to.
you know him.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I
What'd you average senior year?
18.5.
No, that's what Jeremy says.
mine was 18.7. What was your senior year?
I was.
Probably 26.
Yeah, I think I was around there.
Good.
I study stats too.
So I'm saying, okay, yeah.
No, that's
26.
fair. That's fair. I'd say even higher for you
Yeah,
because you shoot every
that's-
time.
Oh my god.
But you
Only
could
because-
in high, like against a bunch of high schoolers, you could shoot every time.
Yeah, but I'm not
The only thing is it's 8-minute quarters. That's like the only.
for sure.
That's the defender right there. Is there's
But there's a
it
shot
goes
clock
by.
now, so there's even more possessions than there
Ooh,
was.
good
when I
True.
played.
Good point.
Thank
Oh,
goodness there is.
37.
Because how many times your senior
37.
year did, or was it your junior year where they held the ball?
Yeah, we
Twice?
We had a game that we played half the game.
Was that your junior year or senior year?
Junior year,
His
Versus
junior,
who?
my
I
senior.
like it.
Brighton.
Oh, right.
They held
How
the
many points did you
up,
score that game?
We were up 14-7, and they held the ball.
How many
And
points did you have that game?
I don't know, bro. I don't have my stats
Yeah, look
all
it up.
memorized.
Let's see how I did too. Yeah, it was a semifinal of the state championship, and we were up, and they held so. I get it, like what they were trying to do. There's no shot clock.
Was there a spread?
We were up
trying
and
to cover
down.
the spread, or
No, yeah, right. People Probably.
What year is that?
Probably the coach. That's what it was.
What is it? 2012.
This is 13. 2012 to 13 state championship. No, but I get if they're trying to hold it because they take our advantage. Like we were up and down, we were run and gun, right? But do it when you're winning and do it the whole game. And they didn't do either of those things. So we were already winning. And then they start holding the ball. And we know all these guys. We grew up playing AAU with them and stuff. And they're like, we're just sitting back. We're just like, cool. Yeah, we're winning by 7. We don't care. And they kept they were kind of whispering to us like, hey, come out and guard us. We're like, why would we guard you? We're going to win if you guys just keep sitting at half court with the ball and we're just sitting here on defense. And then they didn't do it the whole game. They only started middle of the first quarter. And then they tried to play with us again in the third quarter. So it was only one quarter. They held it while they were still losing. And then the best part was they tried to get a play off before halftime. They drew up some play and we stole and went and got a layup. So we increased our lead. It was like the second they tried to play with us, we just stole and got an easy bucket. But yeah, I'm huge. It was super nice when I was watching the PGAF game. It was nice to have that shot clock. It's much better basketball. All right, so 37.
I didn't say that. I said
no. Jeremy and I, we were kind of talking on the side. We feel like 37 is appropriate.
15 that game. You had 11.
How many boards though? A little double.
No, you had 8 boards. That's embarrassing.
Okay, but we played 2.5 quarters.
My senior year, I averaged a triple single all season long. It's 18.7, 3 and 2 all season. Triple single.
That's solid.
Yeah, triple single.
Very good.
I've never heard.
That's counting turnovers. That was no assists. Those were the turnovers, rebounds.
Completely scoreless second quarter by both teams.
Was it? Wait,
we get a bucket? I thought we got a bucket at the end.
It must have been in the first quarter.
Okay. Yeah.
There no points were scored in the second quarter?
That's so lame.
So
no way.
But they played straight up, looks like third and fourth. So it was 53-27 was the final score.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Good times.
Well, my whole memory of that game is wrong, apparently. I've told that story 1,000 times. It's been wrong every single time. It was the end of the first quarter, I guess.
I stole it.
I stole it. I got an and one dunk. I had 12 points in the game. All right, what about you? Here comes the delusional of all delusions.
Why is that delusional? I'm probably averaging 20.
Yeah, it's delusional.
How is that delusional?
You can't shoot.
Yes, I can.
You can't dribble.
Yeah, I can.
No,
I averaged 18 in high school.
Would you be a center now?
I could be.
You'd post up?
I could be.
Yeah.
Just a little bully ball.
Yeah.
Booty ball.
I mean, I probably just have as much of a skill set with my back to the basket as you did as a senior.
It's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair.
I like that.
That's a fair argument.
It's mean enough to yourself, and it's a little bit of a compliment to me. I'll take it. All right, cool. And I'll go... I have probably 20 points as well. Just in the post. No, come on. No one can guard me in the post. Is your knee healthy? Huh? No, it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
I played pickup the other night.
Are we healthy in this?
Yeah, actually, yeah, we're healthy. We're healthy.
Okay.
I'm 30 then.
Okay. I'm 28.
Well, what's wrong with you right now? You're saying you're...
I'm just a little old, a little bit creaky.
But
nothing's wrong with him.
I've had more surgeries than anyone in this room.
How many surgeries? Actually, I don't know if that's true. How many surgeries have you had?
I don't believe in surgeries. 0.
Oh,
I like
well, you've had more than him.
I've had 5.
How many have I had?
I don't know.
I've had 5. So,
okay.
Same.
What surgeries have you had?
Nose. Got a new nose. Was one for you, right?
No. I should. I should get a new nose.
What surgery?
We talked about this yesterday. It's crooked.
What surgeries have you had?
I broke my nose 4 times. I got 4 knee surgeries and a wrist surgery.
Same knee, all same knee.
Huh?
I thought you said you didn't have a knee surgery.
When have I ever said that?
You said your knees hurt, and I was like, "Did you have to have surgery?" And you said no.
Yeah, that didn't happen. All right, next one. Well, I guess I don't have any more rapid fires. So let's talk about what you're up to right now. Other than you play pickup 6 times a week, you're kind of a maniac.
Love
is what I'm learning.
I have a passion for the game. Passion for the game. Love it.
She would never.
6 times a week, but then
I would.
It's like whatever Jeremy's into, he's all in. You're playing pickup 6 times a week. You're playing chess 23 hours.
I pulled back on chess this
in a week.
I worked in screen time 2 weeks ago was 24 hours of chess.
That's crazy.
That's not bad. I mean, that's plus.
I'm not saying it's bad.
That's
it's
working
chess.
the mind.
Yeah.
It's almost as good as reading.
It's just a lot.
Like borderline reading.
Yeah.
You probably have 30 hours of TikTok.
No, I don't want. First of all, it's banned.
No, it's not
I
anymore.
think I don't know.
And by
Actually.
the way, allegedly, I have TikTok on my phone for
Yeah.
our business. I don't ever open it, but allegedly, if you didn't have TikTok, whatever, 2 or 3 days ago, you can't download it right now. And so my son randomly deleted it for whatever reason. I thought it was like some kind of scam on a screen time evaluation, but he deleted it. And he's like, well, I thought it was going to get banned, and now we can't get it back.
He's pissed.
I told him I can't wait to hang out with him this week. I said, it's going to be a great week for him. But he can't get it back. And so I'm really secretly hoping that like it just never comes back unless you have it. Like your legacy only.
Yeah.
You can keep it if you have it, but you don't
Yeah.
get to download it.
Hey, Hudson, you know what they didn't ban is the chess app. Hop on there.
He's on the chess app. He's
There we
strong.
go.
He's got a strong
I like that.
presence on the
No,
chess
I don't go on TikTok. That's the one I don't go on. My wife goes on. I'm in those videos. I do a horrendous job. I knew I was bad at dancing, but like something about this video, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the worst dancer I've ever seen. It's like, it's unbelievable. But I know no one else in this
Have you
room
seen
can
it?
dance.
Have you seen it?
No.
Okay.
We'll show it to you after. Can any of you guys dance? I mean, I like,
No,
I'll say I'm an
can't
average
dance.
dancer.
oh my gosh.
no dancing for me. Wiggle on the court, but no dancing.
Oh,
Oh, look out.
yours was answer. Your answer was worse.
Yours was the answer. No, I just said I'm an average dancer.
No, you're not. If you're
I'm
an
Polly.
average part of dancing, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy. I need someone on my
Well,
side.
I don't
for
know
this.
that either of us are the authority on part of dancing, but continue on.
Part of dancing is the confidence.
Okay. Yeah,
true.
I agree with that.
Is that fair?
That's
I
really
agree with that.
anything.
That's a great point.
That's a good point.
That's a great point, TJ Haws.
Wow.
Let's end the podcast.
No,
That's
no.
great.
You're on the
That's
other side.
really good.
Yours was answer, bro.
What?
Part of it is confidence. If you're an average dancer, then you would get up right now and do a little dance.
I'm not getting up. See, that's the
No confidence.
See, you get to like trick your other guests. Like that's not me. That's not
No
me.
confidence.
There's no
That's
confidence.
He's not average.
See, you guys
He's below
can't-
average.
you
That
guys
strategy
can't
has to
bait
be
me
in some
into
kind
that.
of psychology book right there. That
Yeah,
was
see,
that
I'm
was
not-
really
I'm not
interesting.
following you
Well
guys' little
played.
reverse
Check by
psychology.
exposure.
Check
Where you
by
guys-
exposure.
Check my exposure.
This isn't a Lone Peak 3 thing where you can bully the little freshman kids into like no. Like
What are you talking
get
about?
out of here, dude.
Sorry, bro. No confidence.
Yeah, taking some water. Can't dance. Yeah. All right. Well, average dancer. We'll give a dance. Okay. So, Jess, pick up the occasional challenge to your son. This is something else I want to talk about was is the younger generation that's coming up right now, high school, college. So Alex sent a video to our group chat. Do you want to talk about that one?
It was the UCLA coach. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen. I'm a big LA fan.
Yeah. We've established
So I
that.
was kidding. UCLA, and he's sitting there talking about how
UCLA
he's just-
basketball.
Yeah, I saw.
He's
it.
like
Oh.
ticked off at the team and basically saying like, I can't be the toughest guy in the room. I can't want it the most in the room. We basically have a bunch of softies. And like, I was like, dude, like the day and age where it's at, like, and as a coach, for him to say that, I don't know if there was any repercussions. How long ago was that?
That was-
It's been like a week.
Yeah, last week or so.
Yeah. I'm curious.
I know they didn't play well after that. They got beat handily there in the following game, and there's turmoil from what I saw in
But yeah,
Sports Center.
that creates an immediate division on your team. Like I told Eric the other day, I'm like, that's fine if that's what you think, but that's a locker room conversation. Like you say that in the locker room after the game. The second you go to the media with that, it's garbage. You know,
Yeah.
the team's just like, man, coach is the worst. Like,
Yeah.
he just embarrassed me in front of the whole country.
Right.
And now it's talked about on, every media show and podcast all over the country. And
Here we are.
But I'm like,
everybody-
I like it.
no, it's fine if you like it, but it's a locker room thing. You would like that as a player if your coach was like, Alex is so soft.
No, that wouldn't happen to me ever.
Oh my gosh, it's hypothetical.
That wouldn't happen to me ever. I'm not soft. So.
But okay, but
He's going
there's
for
probably a
26.
bunch of dudes on that team that are thinking the same thing. Like, I'm not soft. Like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, that's probably true.
And that would
It
piss you
lead-
off a little bit.
Yeah, and it just leads straight to finger pointing. Like,
Yeah, everyone's
case in
mad.
point right there.
He even called
He's
that
not
as
talking
assistant
about me.
coaches.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
As an
that's,
assistant coach, you're like, are you serious? Like,
yeah, that's probably true.
And he's going, I'm the toughest one in the gym. Everyone's going, are you like,
Yeah.
No, I agree. I don't mind the conversation. I do agree that it should be in the locker room, but I guess my question, and maybe this isn't what you were asking when you sent it to the group, is like, are kids softer? Like, is something about social media, something about NIL deals, something about like that they don't have as tough a a skin. I don't know, because of those things.
You're a boy in high school, so you're right in the thick of it. I feel like you have like a really good gauge of
what his friends, his teammates are like. I guess not them, but like
just watching AAU, watching like basketball and stuff, like, and just comparing it to, I guess.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, everyone's less soft in their own minds than they probably were.
For sure.
So how soft were we? I don't have any idea. I'm sure we were softer than we think we were.
Not Alex, though.
Yeah.
Except Alex.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just different. I don't know that it's worth comparing if they are or they're not. They aren't.
Yeah.
I think things are different. I think it's about identifying what builds a successful human being and focusing on those inputs versus just jumping to some huge conclusion because the world's clearly different. I mean, our parents, if they would have sat there and told us, well, because you guys now have cars instead of walking to school and you guys have hot lunches instead of like a tuna fish sandwich that my mom made if I was lucky, and you guys have potato chips instead of an actual potato that I had to carve at school. Like it always changes.
Yeah, I like that.
And they weren't calling us soft when we were in high school. At least I don't think you guys were called that. So, but I'm sure they thought it in some way because it was completely different than what it was in the 60s and 70s. So I think that the answer is it's just different.
Yeah.
And it's just adapting to that. Like if you think something that is occurring in society makes an individual less resilient or less willing to put in effort, then you should talk about that specific thing instead of just kind of dumping on an entire generation. You guys are softer, or you guys don't get this because you have social media. Like that's just a really big chasm for them to try to even process and consider. Like maybe my mom or dad or people that are saying this have a point, because it's just too big of a divide.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I'd say.
Well, what did you think about Cronin's overall comments, or like everything, the context of it, what he was saying?
I think he was really upset.
Yeah.
And probably needed to take a deep breath before he went publicly and said all those things. I mean, what you guys said is exactly right. Like you might feel that and you might say that, and even in the locker room, it can cause a divide and be challenging, but that's what a leader has to do.
Right.
A leader sometimes has to say the hard things, but a leader has to know also when and where to say them. And so I would be surprised if that UCLA ship gets righted this season. I would be very surprised if they did. It would be a tribute also to those players and a tribute to the coach that he could do that and still get things going in the right direction. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Your UCLA Bruins, bro, struggling.
Actually, USC's. I like USC better.
Oh my gosh.
We just got licensed. You just announced today. Fight on, bro.
Jumping ship. This is a BYU podcast.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Don't fight on.
Sorry, bro. Keaton Slovis, bro.
Yeah, let's just throw out random names now.
How's that random?
Reggie Bush.
Keaton Slovis.
I'm just kidding. I know.
You know, you didn't know that.
Yes,
it makes sense to me now. He didn't know that. He had no clue.
Just let him be.
He's like,
I'm going to be honest with you. If you asked me where did
say
Keaton Slovis go, I wouldn't have known, because he went somewhere else after that, and I don't remember.
After what?
But yeah, I can put the two dots
Just
together.
cut this piece out.
No, this piece is staying in. Alex is wrong. Okay, another thing you're up to right now is your company.
Yeah.
Talk about that. What is that like? Are you pretty hands-on? What is it even? Intro to people.
So
I think a lot of people
I retired
know,
from
but
baseball in 2017. So since then, had the opportunity to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And then after I came home, like I was 42 years old and retired from baseball and didn't have at the time anything to do. So I was thinking about what I could do. And one of the things I had invested in was a company called Custom Cleats. And what Custom Cleats does is they take any sneaker and they make it into a cleat. And that cleat could be for lacrosse, it could be for football, soccer, baseball, or golf, or anything really that requires performance on a grass or turf field.
Yep.
And so the idea is to take your favorite sneaker, your most comfortable sneaker, whatever it is, and if you want to play in it, like how many times have you heard say, oh my gosh, I wish I could play baseball in these, or softball, on the weekends in a pair of Kobe 6s or a pair of Jordan this, that, or the other. And the idea was we wanted to answer that question. That was a need that people had. So we take the sneaker, people buy it, they send it to us, we carve out the bottoms, we glue on a cleat plate that they choose, whatever sport they want to play in, they choose accordingly. And then now they have a cleat on any shoe. So I bought that company 2 years ago with my my best friend from college. And so we're trying to do it together. I mean, neither of us are business people, so we are hands-on, but not sure the hands are always good, the things we're touching and doing, but we're trying to build it, and it's been a lot of fun.
I completely forgot that he that was I have like 3 pairs from Custom Cleats.
Do you really?
Yeah.
What sport? Like what do you?
So I got some Jordans then for a softball league.
Nice.
And then I turned some into some golf. And then so the royal blue ones, like this is a few years ago. Royal blue one cleats, I think we turned them into golf shoes. And then I have another Jordan 11 low that we've made into some football cleats.
Yeah. That's what it's all about. It's like the most comfortable, best looking shoe you ever have, and you want to make it a cleat, then you come to Custom Cleats, 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, boom, you got it, and you're ready to rock and roll.
And go ahead.
What's the coolest shoe you've seen come in that you've?
That's a great question. I get asked that all the time. You know, people always ask, what's your recommendation? The whole point of the company is you get to choose.
Sure.
Like I can't make a recommendation for you. I know the most comfortable, and the most comfortable ones are usually Kobe's, actually.
For sure.
If someone does a Kobe, I know that shoe is going to be nice and light and feel good. Pair of Dior ones, Air Jordan 1 lows, Dior. A guy named Richie Palacios on the Tampa Bay Rays last year did a pair of those and wore them numerous times in the big leagues.
That's
and
dope.
they were sick.
So those are the most uncomfortable shoe I like ever.
Jordan 1 Dior specifically, or
Yes,
Jordan 1
Dior.
lows? Okay. I've never put them on. I don't know them.
I have a pair of Dior 1 lows, and it's like super high quality, but it is the most uncomfortable shoe
Oh, really? Okay.
ever. I can't wear them for more than an hour.
What about just regular Jordan 1 lows?
They're fine. Jordan 1 lows.
Oh, so there's like a
be,
distinct difference. It's not like your feet just don't
It hurt. Like
fit great with
it's
them.
something about just like the leather's like so much a higher quality that it's like so stiff and you can, like they hurt really bad.
That's interesting that
That
it's comfortable for him. Yeah.
Well, it's not as comfortable. It's just
Looking nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but
Yeah,
it
but for
must
him-
be comfortable enough.
Well, that's the thing. Well, that's
'cause,
the
like, he's
thing. Every
playing in
athlete
them.
that sends us a shoe to be converted, there's really 3 motivations. The most popular one is probably because they want to look a certain
Sure,
way.
yeah.
They want to match the team colors. And we don't, like when you make cleats, companies don't make a ton of cleat colors because there's not a lot of money in that business. And so sneaker companies do all the work for custom cleats. They're the ones that design every shoe, make new shoes, release 55 different colorways of it. And suddenly we have infinite options to convert. And so, either you do it for look, you do it for feel, or you do it for health. We have a few guys that swear, they said, the fact that I can play baseball in this sneaker has extended my career
Wow.
tremendously.
That's sweet.
And so those are the 3 real reasons you would come to us. And the most prominent, of course, is I want to look a certain way
Yeah.
and be dope. And that's, that's an uncomfortable shoe. The idea probably was uncomfortable or not. I want to look, I want to be rocking these Dior's in Yankee Stadium, which he did. And, it's pretty nice.
I want to look super cool in my
That's
softball
sweet.
league.
That's right.
That's
Look
a
good,
bro.
feel good, play good.
yeah.
I want these people to
If I do something,
tremble when I'm at the
going all
plate.
out, bro. If I do something, I'm going all
Oh,
out.
we
You
know
look
that.
sick in a pair of Patrick Ewing conversions. Get yourself a pair of Ewings, convert them on there, and just see what you do at the plate. Could be good.
Well, it'll be good until I try and do something at the plate. But yes, I would look I would look good doing it. Striking out in softball. Yeah, it's not my thing. But was part of it, because I know while you were playing, you were doing that. So was that custom cleats that you had bought into that was making your cleats? Because you had a crazy lineup.
Super easy connection. Yeah. When I was playing, and one year I was pitching in Baltimore, and I'm like, I want a pair of the black and orange Air Jordan released. I'm like, I got to have that on the field. Like that would be amazing.
Yeah.
So I called my agent and said, hey, can I get these made into cleats somehow? And he did all the homework and found custom cleats, converted them, wore them, got a ton of compliments, and then did a few other pairs throughout my career. Foam posits were the ones that really caught people's attention. No one still has ever played in a pair of foam posit baseball shoes, except myself, and did that with the Royals. They were blue and gray.
That's dope.
They were beautiful. So did that, and then later on at the end of my career, the original owner reaches out to me and said, hey, would you want to invest? So I invested and helped him out a little bit, but he was doing the large majority of the work. And then he approached me a few years later and said, would you want to buy the rest of the company? And that's when we stepped in and said, yeah, we'll take full ownership of it and see if we can't grow it. And so made a new little logo right out of the gates and tried to rebrand a little bit, but really just carry on the same momentum that he had created, which is, it sells itself. Like when I talk to people about it, I don't want to feel like a salesman because
Sure.
I really don't want to sell you something, but
Right.
just like when people see it, I'm like, who wouldn't want a pair of their favorite shoe made into cleats? Like,
Right.
who wouldn't want that? At least 1, 2, 3. There's some big leaguers that have 37 pairs sitting in their locker.
Oh my God.
Like they just over and over send us, convert this, convert that. And just none of their shoes look like anybody else's. They're all one of ones.
Yeah.
Who's the coolest athlete you've got to like I guess, the most famous athlete that you've got to?
That's a really good question. Most famous athlete. We've done, a surprise client was Derek Carr last year in training camp.
Jordan's a bunch.
Yeah. So he was, at the time, I don't know if he was already wearing Jordan cleats or if he was kind of like me where I couldn't get him. So I had to like go and do my own thing. But he sent us a bunch of pairs. We converted them into cleats and he wore them in training camp. Come regular season, he was wearing the actual Jordan brand cleats that were made by Jordan brand that are actually, specifically cleats. But that was a fun one to do. Travis Scott's probably one of our more unique ones. Got a phone call from Jordan brand 3 years ago. And they're like, hey, we have Travis Scott has a softball tournament or a softball game that he does down in Houston at Minute Maid Ballpark.
Yeah, Alex,
and we need like 36 pairs of shoes for all of his boys.
Yeah.
And so we converted them all.
All his shoe?
Yeah, all his shoe. They sent us just a truckload of Travis Scott one lows, highs, sixes, Air Maxes.
Like extra pairs.
I tried. I said maybe a couple extra 13s didn't work out. But we sent them all the shoes. They're all rocking them. He's loving them. And then they got smart. Like, wait, like we're Jordan brand. We can do whatever we want. Why don't we just make our own Travis Scott cleats? So last year, for the first time, they made Travis Scott cleats. And so all the guys from Robinson Cano to, James Harden probably was there. They all had Travis Scott cleats, which was cool. Although James Harden probably didn't wear them. He's an Adidas guy. So nonetheless, but that was another cool one. Those are some cool collaborations we've done, but we've worked with over 150 major league players. We've got guys pitching in them in the World Series. Luke Weaver this past year for the Yankees, closer for the Yankees, exclusively wears Air Jordan 1 low conversions. And shortstop for the Yankees loves them. Oswaldo Cabrera loves to wear Under Armour. Actually, he wears a pair of Steph Curry 4s.
Oh, that's sweet.
Converted.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. A lot of fun connections that way.
And it's, like you were saying, you don't want to sell, and it is organic. One, because you did it yourself, right? Like you kind of found a way to navigate that, and then it became easier as you found this company. And two, you're just overall a big sneaker guy. Yeah, you're a big shoe guy.
Yeah, that's why it makes sense. I think.
Yeah,
I did it. I wore them. I was known as someone that loves sneakers.
Yeah.
Early on, kind of when social media was taking the reins in professional sports. So I've always collected sneakers, and so it just makes perfect sense. When people see me in the clubhouse now, like we'll go visit clubhouses in spring training, talk to players, show them all the conversions we have so they can see it and touch it and feel it. And they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you own it. I said, I've only owned it for a couple of years. And they're like, it's perfect for you. Like that is the perfect thing for you to be doing.
Yeah.
So
what are your favorite? I know right now you're a big Kobe guy. You're buying only Kobe's.
Yeah.
Is what I hear.
Only Kobe's, no, but
it's a phase.
A lot of Kobe's. I didn't own any Kobe's until, 5 years ago, maybe.
And how many do you own now?
Like 40. And they're just so comfortable and they're amazing. Like they got great color. That's what I love. I love the colorways that they make. And a lot of them are, player editions where they got red and green and blue, but from the Grinches to reverse Grinches to player exclusives, they do some amazing colorways. So I rock a lot of Air Jordan 1 lows. I've pretty much abandoned every other Jordan for the time being. I got a lot that are sitting on the shelves, but I love wearing 14s actually. It's the most random pair, but I love the black toe 14 Air Jordan. That's one of my favorites. So
it's going right over Eric's head. Right?
Yeah, he's like, oh, 14's like,
no, until
the 13 guy.
No.
14's
no. Too. Until you said 14, I was with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what don't say no, then confirm what we said.
You're making it sound like I don't know any of those things.
You don't.
I do. I just clarified that. That's why I clarified. That's going over your head.
No, dude.
It's funny.
Air Force 1 highs, he'd be like, oh, those are nice Jordan 1s, bro. Like,
okay, what? And if I did, so what? that makes me lame that I don't know shoes.
I'm saying that's fine. Just don't sit here and be like, no, I knew.
Yeah,
like,
and you wear fake glasses, so here we are. What were you going to say, Jeremy?
When my wife...
You try these on.
Those are fake glasses, just so everyone knows. I did try them on. They're fake.
For years, when my wife and I go into a sneaker shop, like I'll say, let's go to Nike Town, let's go into Foot Locker, whatever it is. And I'm just trying to go in there to like strike up a conversation with an employee and talk about sneakers. And I still have tons of friends I stay in touch with that I met in a Foot Locker or a Foot Action or whatever it might have been in the old days. But I'll go in and we'll get into a conversation. We're talking about releases, this, that, and the other. And we'll walk out 20 minutes later. My wife would be like, I don't even know what you guys just talked about for the past 20
It's like a different language.
What language were you guys speaking? It's because it naturally
She's
converts
normal.
into, you start talking about nicknames of shoes and numbers, and none of the names made
Well, I was
any
going to
sense.
say, what like a wild concept to want to go to a Nike store just so you can have a conversation
love
with
it.
somebody that works at a shoe store.
It was all the time.
because they speak the language.
My wife would just like she would normally, if I walked in, she would normally say, "I'll just see you in 30."
yeah,
Let's
just call me.
meet me at whatever in 30.
Right.
But it would happen enough that she had to absorb some of that.
Do you ever
She
go to
knows
like
more
a?
than Eric for sure.
No, she for sure knows more than you.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not
But
embarrassed.
sometimes
by
she'll go in the
I should not
closet.
be.
She's got a nice selection. She'll go in the closet and put something on, and she'll ask me like, "What is this one called again?"
that. That's funny.
Just because she's like curious.
Do you ever go to like a regular retail store that just sells like everything, like a Dick's Sporting Good or like a Shields?
I do, yeah.
And have a conversation with those people, and they're just like, "What is this guy
not with
talking
Dick's.
about?"
Never had a Dick's conversation, but I've asked them
that's
about
awesome.
shoes, and I bought shoes at Dick's, but
Yeah.
I've never actually tried to get deep into the conversation. I feel like those people are a little bit more broad.
Yeah,
Like
no,
they can
for sure.
rock, they can go help you get a pair, some new golf balls, and maybe like a new weight set,
Yeah,
and a pair of shoes,
Yeah,
and the newest dry fit. But I want someone that like is really, got the full sneak.
you would start a conversation.
You're from Oregon?
I grew up in Oregon, yeah.
Where?
Ashland, Oregon, small town on the California border. But if you're from Oregon, you naturally have that affinity to Nike, and that's what I
I
grew
worked
up
at the
with.
employee store for a bit.
Yeah. Oh, you worked at the employee store?
Yeah.
That's a
for a
fun
little
time.
bit. I finished at Portland State. So
Okay.
my last 2 years are at Portland State. So
Very
I lived
good.
In Portland.
What years were those?
It was 15 and 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
So
Yeah.
I loved it.
Maybe you talk to him. Maybe you guys.
Yeah, I'll
maybe
talk
you
to
guys
an employee
met.
store person for sure.
For
Mainly asking them
So
what's
maybe
coming
you guys
out.
met already and you talk shoes.
Yeah, we were probably chopping it up.
Yeah, probably.
Have you ever been in the employee store?
Yeah, I have.
So dope. I remember when you guys beat Gonzaga up there and they had the Gonzaga mannequin and I was working in there and I was like, laughing at everybody. It was a great time.
No, I've just been there once, but I was there. Let's see, just over a year ago. Yeah, just over a year ago, and I heard it was better before. Like it was even cheaper and maybe a bigger selection.
It used to be 50% off.
Yeah,
And obviously you can, any good release now, I don't even know if they go to the store anymore.
Yeah.
I'm under the impression you don't even get it at the store. It's more like a raffle before, but the line to get stuff is significantly longer
Yeah.
now than it was
It's
10
less-
years ago. Certainly
less of
more
a
than 20.
secret.
Yeah. It's just, it's easy to get in now. I feel like there's
Right.
so many ways to get in that it's just, the competition's really tough.
Yeah, because when we were playing, when was that?
College
8
athletes
years
couldn't even
ago.
go in there.
Yeah, we couldn't
Yeah.
go in there, and the coaches would go in there when we go up to play Portland, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to the employee store," and because of the NCAA rules at the time, we couldn't even get employee discounts at
Basically
the Nike
doing
store.
anything
I'm
back
like,
then. It
that's-
was like, is this a rule that I'm breaking?
That's crazy.
Like, going to lunch.
You went to Olive Garden, you weren't sure if you could have the free breadsticks or not.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Is
get the
that-
lunch.
is that a perk?
It's like,
I couldn't get the lunch deal. Like, no, calm down. Everyone gets a lunch deal. Like, is this because it's me?
Like, nope, 2 for 20. Can't do
like,
it.
who are you?
2 for 20, can't do it. All right, I want to talk about briefly your time. You know, you mentioned right as I introduced you, and I said we get back to this. Majors, minors. What is that like? You know, I experienced that a little bit with the G League. TJ did as well. What was your experience? How much were you up versus down? What's it like getting that call up? What's it like thinking or whether you're sent down or you sign with a minor league team, whatever the situation is, like how drastic of a difference is that? And I don't know, what's it like in baseball? I'd love to get like an inside look.
So number one, in baseball, it's expected. 99.9% of players go to the minor leagues and they have to build their way up to the big leagues. So that in and of itself is hugely different than the NBA
Yeah.
and in the NFL. You know, when you're a first round pick, you're probably going to make an impact on your team right away.
Yeah.
You're a first round pick in baseball. If you're in high school, you're going to a small town in North Carolina or Indiana to start your career, and you might be 3 or 4 years away, and that's understood, expected, and totally normal.
Yeah.
So that's number one. You have to recognize that. And the minor leagues are, in this day and age, they've actually changed quite a bit. They've instituted a lot of regulations. They've unionized. And so now there actually are kind of baseline requirements for what a ballpark has to offer you, both in terms of amenities as well as food. As recently as 5, 6, 7 years ago, you would expect before a game maybe to get some apple slices, some peanut butter, celery, and some cold cuts on some bread.
Jeez.
And that's what you got before a game. And after the game, you were at the mercy of maybe some McDonald's hamburgers or whatever they threw in there, because they were running on a really tight budget. And so now organizations, teams have taken on that expense, and it's all organized. I don't know all the details of the deal that was worked out. But so if I tell you the old days, and again, I came from a time where I played in really nice minor league ballparks, but you go back 20, 30 years, 40 years, the stories would be amazing, right? You're playing in parks that have no hot water, and there's barely a door to stop the cold air from coming in April, the whole thing. And then you jump on a bus, and are doubled up on a bus, and you might drive, the game ends at 11 p.m. You get into the next city at 5 a.m. sometimes, try to sleep for a couple of hours, then you go to the ballpark, and again, the ballpark stinks. So these are normal things, and it's, it'll beat you down. I think it's a good separator, honestly. Like, it's part of it is it's going to separate, it's going to sift you pretty quickly. Totally. Because number one, the talent is incredible. So you were the man back in your high school or your college. Now you go to this minor league ball team, and there's kids from all over the world. They all throw 100 miles an hour. They all hit home runs.
They're all the best where they came from too.
And mentally, right from the get, you're like, wow, I'm not as good as I thought I was.
Right.
So the minor leagues sift you, and you can be there. I was there 2 years before I got my first taste of the big leagues.
Out of Stanford?
Yes, out of college. But I was really there for 4 years. I got my first big league call up in 2004. My first year was 2003 in the minor leagues, started in Akron, Ohio. So I got up really quickly compared to most players, but at the same time, it was just kind of a quick taste. And then they sent me back down. And I really toiled in the minors for 4 seasons. Had periods where I was unbelievable. And they, even to the point where the Cleveland Indians at the time told me, hey, just go to AAA, which is one step below the big leagues. Go to AAA for a couple of weeks, throw, and then we'll call you up.
Mm-hmm.
I was so bad that not only did I not get called up, but I got sent back down to AA and regressed and spent the next season at AA. And so the experience I had was minor league baseball was a grind. You're playing 140 so odd games a year. You have a roommate that you may or may not get along with. You have 26 teammates that want your exact job. So there's not too much of this, hey, let's win together. Great job. It's very much when I do well, I'm taking an opportunity away from you.
Right.
And so,
you're not cheering for each other.
You are in a good circumstance, but most aren't.
Yeah. And on the surface, everyone kind of is.
Of course, on the surface, yes. But someone like you do well, it's like, nice job. Shoot. Like now I'm,
you have a bad game. Some guy's patting you on the back.
Exactly.
Hey,
you'll
like
be
smiling,
fine.
like, hey,
down they go
great
home,
game,
like, my boy. And that's real. And that's real. To say that none of us have felt that would be a lie. It's very competitive. So that's the picture I want to paint for minor league baseball. Is it's just a grind. I tell kids this all the time, right? You talk to high school kids like that know you played professional baseball. Like, what is it like? How is it? I'm going to get money. I'm going to get paid. I'm going to get to the big leagues. And I tell them, I said, you may get to the big leagues if you are one of the 3% that have like a career beyond 3 years, or you could be like everybody else where you play a couple of years, you get burned out, you get injured, you're just not good enough, you get released, and now you're 20 years old, 21 years old, no education, probably not even that much money in the bank anymore because you spent it. And what do you got? And it's a grind. And so that's what I would say about minor league baseball. What can you say about big league baseball? That it's the best of the best. I mean, everything's first class, from what you get in your locker to the food they feed you to the chartered flights where you get on after a game and you sit down, and before you can even like look left or right, you have ice cream bars and pizzas and Chick-fil-A. That was my favorite. When they brought the Chick-fil-A on, that was nice. I like that. What are you saying?
I said I would love that.
Yeah.
It's a fat joke.
So,
not as fat as you.
The show is the show. And there's no expense spared. And teams vary. Some teams are more accommodating than others.
Sure.
But overall, I don't think anybody complains about being in the big leagues.
One thing that us three have talked about this before. I felt like my funniest teammates and maybe most fun times playing basketball as a pro was when I was in the G League. I feel like you just get such a random jumble of people with like crazy background. Like how everyone ends up in the G League is so different from how everyone ends up in all the other professional leagues for whatever reason. So I think I had my funniest teammates when I was there. I think you've said that probably JUCO was where you had maybe funny is not the word, maybe interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting, and TJ said the same thing about his time at Lakeland. Did you feel that way with the Miners, like just interesting cats on those teams? Any wild locker room stories? Or
without a doubt, baseball may, I guess in this day and age, probably not any more unique than basketball because of the players that come internationally. But yes, I had incredible teammates that made you laugh every single day, that were there to make you laugh. Some of them that were just so quirky that you couldn't help but like wonder what happened to this person in their youth and last night for that matter. What is going on with this person? So
Who made you this way?
And I think, and I would venture to say that baseball attracts maybe even just the most quirkiest of all people. Like basketball players, you might be able to tell me different, but most basketball players are basketball players. But baseball players, they can be the farmer that literally never even went to school and has no education, but could hit a home run or throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. He shows up, the Dominican kid that had his background and his experience, to the young man that had every opportunity and went to the private school. It is just all over the map. And baseball is so specific in terms of talent. Like I think it truly is the most diverse sport you could ever come up with. So if you're experiencing basketball, just 2 or 3 exit, and that's what was happening in baseball.
Yeah.
My first experience, I'll give you a quick story. I'm in Arizona. I get sent to the fall league. It's a prospect league that goes on for about a month and a half in Arizona. Usually AA, AAA guys. Some guys have been in the big leagues, but they're not established yet. And so I'm down in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm playing on a team. We have players from 6 different teams on ours. And Cat walks out of his locker. Okay, he's one of our pitchers. He grabs his pellet gun or whatever it was. He grabs a gun out of the locker. Okay, like not his bat, not his glove, but his gun.
Solid.
Walks out. He goes out of the clubhouse. He comes back with 3 pigeons in his hands. Oh, boys, it's lunchtime. I'm like, okay, where's this going? He takes his knife out of his pocket and starts skinning the little pigeons, and he makes these little medallions. They're beautiful, little medallions. And he puts them on the George Foreman, and he's grilling them, and he's seasoning them up, cuts them up, and takes them around the clubhouse. And said, boys, enjoy some lunch today. I mean, that is just incredible. That is just a normal, like no one bats an eye at that. Like they laugh and say, this guy's crazy, but in reality, that could happen on any team,
it's like
anywhere.
For the Panthers that killed the squirrel. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
it was raccoon.
No, but he's on social media now. He like kills a squirrel. He's like skinning it, and he says like we took the clothes off, and he like grills this squirrel.
Yeah.
On social media.
Well, he was probably because he was on some podcast with 2 other guys, like virtually, and they asked him what his favorite food is, and this guy said raccoon, and the 2 guys were just blown away. They're like, okay, like raccoon, like that's in your trash. He's like, yeah, it's tasty. He's eating squirrel now. Yeah,
the pigeon medallions weren't bad. They really weren't.
Sounds good.
That's the most wild locker room. Like I'm shocked.
No one took a gun out of your locker room before layup, warm-ups and shots.
My teammates that I thought were funny and interesting are no longer funny and interesting. That's like the craziest
pregame snack. Like, you guys need some. I got hold up.
Yeah, let me go kill these pigeons. That's the craziest thing ever. I was gonna say, oh yeah, we had some funny guys. They did like TikTok dances.
Baseball's a long day. That's also different from other sports. Is if the game's at 7 p.m., players show up to that clubhouse, especially on the road. If you're on the road, the earlier you show up, but there are some places you might show up at 1 p.m., noon, and you're hanging out for 4 hours before you even do anything that's related to your job.
Well, the pigeon killing makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, absolutely. We were in one spot in Louisville my first year. You guys ever play bumper pool? Or bumper pool. They're like octagons. You ever played it? No. It's the greatest sport of all time. It's better than chess. They had a bump. It is. They have a bumper pool table there.
How big are we talking? Like as big as a pool table, or is it a little smaller?
No, they're octagons, and they're probably half of a pool table.
Okay.
It's an amazing sport. Go look it up. But they had an incredible table, and we all liked it so much that after the game, we finished the game at 10:30. We're playing bumper pool till 1 or 2 in the morning. And then we're showing up. As we walk out, we're asking the clubhouse manager, who's in those days, it was like a college kid or a high school kid or some kid that was working and getting paid very little, and we're tipping them like $15-20 after 3 days. And that's it. And then we move on and go to another place. We said, what time are you going to be here tomorrow? Oh, I'll probably be here like at 9 or 10. we'll be here. And so we're showing up at 9, and now he's got to worry about a bunch of players at 9 a.m. He normally gets to have some peace and quiet for 4 or 5 hours, and we're playing bumper pool. So we logged like 18 hours of bumper pool in 3 days, all at the expense of this poor clubhouse manager, and, stuff like that. So
that's hilarious.
That's crazy.
Okay, a couple more questions.
I would kill you in bumper pool, just so you're aware.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, I have a question going
6
back
months.
to the minor leagues.
Yeah,
stuff.
go ahead.
Do you feel like the minor leagues will ever shift towards like what basketball is doing in the sense of like, yeah, maybe they're trying to get younger guys, or is that just how the system works? It's like you go to minor leagues no matter what in baseball. Like, do you think they want guys at a younger age? Because basketball is becoming so much of like, can we get an 18-year-old 6'10" kid that just has raw ability?
And you're saying putting that kid in the NBA, letting them get time?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like, you're saying like the age or whatnot or experience of the NBA is starting to like
Yeah, don't you guys
gravitate towards that?
That's what it
sure.
is.
Fair enough.
Alex doesn't know you.
You do see it a little bit more right now in baseball. They're the last few number one picks overall, like Paul Skeens, who is, one of the top pitchers in all of baseball, number one pick by the Pittsburgh Pirates. In the old days, they might have said, Paul Skeens, no matter how good he is, he's going to go to the minor leagues for 1 or 2 years. At the end of the day, now Paul Skeens comes to the Pirates much quicker. And so I think in some way, players are way more advanced. That's number one. Like kids that are being drafted in the first round now probably have superior talent to the ones that were drafted in the first round over the past 30, 40 years.
Yep.
And with that, teams and organizations are more willing to bring them up quicker. So I don't think it'll never probably get to the point where you get drafted in the top 20 guys, like, yeah, right to the big leagues, go ahead.
Yeah.
But I do think the open-mindedness of a team now and the recognition that we need to get the best years out of our players. And so if we're making them go down in the minor leagues just for an extra season to be dominant, just because that's the way it's always been, I think every league, and Major League Baseball included, is stepping away from let's do this just because this is how we do it.
Yeah.
People are a little bit more open-minded to what is the best thing for our organization, for our wins and losses, and for the player, and let's be willing to do it instead of just being rooted in tradition and history.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a good answer. I feel like that's similar in the NBA too, though. Like guys, they're obsessed with like the potential of guys. Like leading up to the draft, you always hear, "Oh, this guy has so much potential." But there are, kids that have the athleticism and skill that 20 years ago you don't see as often, right? Like your top 10 picks might have been all number one picks in previous years, but I guess it depends on the draft. But a couple more questions, then we'll be done here. But one of them is, am I correct in saying you pitched in the World Series and the College World Series?
You are correct. Yeah, I had the chance to pitch in both. And,
again, we talk about a lot of random things. This is one of them. What experience was better? Because, and then and the reason I asked that is because we want to then ask the question to everybody, kind of hypothetical, like what's better, the NCAA tournament or the NBA finals? The college championship that we watched the other, last night, or the winning the Lavelle Edwards trophy. What is that what it's called? Football guy?
Lavelle Edwards trophy.
The Super Bowl.
The Lavelle Edwards trophy is for the best BYU team that year.
Wait,
the Lavelle Edwards trophy. Anyways,
what's the trophy called?
Sorry about my
What's the
friend.
trophy
The
called?
Lombardi one, or which one? What league are we talking about?
It starts with an L. It's an old guy. That's a brain fart, all right?
It's the LeVar Ball trophy.
The LeVar Ball. Swerving my woe.
So I pitched in the College World Series twice, and it's been in Omaha, Nebraska for a long time. I don't know exactly how many years, probably in the 50, 60 year range. And that's where it traditionally is. I can't remember how many teams go, 16 or 8. I think it's 16 teams go
It's
to
a series. It's each.
It's a double elimination bracket. And
Okay,
so
it's just one
you
game.
bring in the top 16,
That's
the
dope.
16 teams that have advanced through regionals and super regionals, which are, just early round compared to the NCAA tournament, early round games, advance to the World Series. And so it's in one location. All the teams are there, and it's a great event. So they sell out almost every game. Some of these Southeastern Conference teams play in front of 20 grand, 20,000 people regularly, but out West, not so often. So that was the most impactful thing. Like we had a sold out Rosenblatt Stadium, 20,000 people there. And what made it unique for us is both years we went, or the first year for sure, Nebraska was there, and they had
Oh,
never
yeah.
been to the College World Series before.
That's
Oh,
dope.
wow.
And so to hear the chants of "Go Big Red"
Right.
and them pounding on the walls all the way around all the walls are padded,
Yeah, it
to
was a
pound
home
on
game.
that and chant, and it was just a sea of red. That was cool, and it added to the experience of what the College World Series was.
Yeah.
So I mean, for a college athlete, Omaha is everything,
Yeah.
and that's the pinnacle. To compare it to the World Series, there's just nothing like the World Series, the real World Series, where you are the only game in town. Nobody else is playing baseball pretty much anywhere. You are, if you like baseball, you are watching those games. Your eyes are glued to those games, and you're it. Like that's the pinnacle of our sport. And just to give you a feeling, like before a game, normally there's 15, 50, 60, 100 people on the field. You can't even move before a game in the World Series. All the foul territory is just covered with cameras and media and people and just energy, celebrities that are there. And then when you get on the field and play the game, it's a totally different feel,
Yeah.
as it would be for any championship level,
Right.
competition. It's unique. So I would say the World Series is, by far the greatest memories I have from baseball. And how could they not be, to be there and be there with your teammates? And we won one and we also lost one. So we felt both
Yeah.
emotions of what it feels to come out of a World Series.
That's pretty cool. Well, translate that as a fan. Do you think that would be the same answer? Would it just be the pro level, because that's just as high as you can get for you, either winning, let's go basketball and football, two of the other main ones. Would you rather win March Madness or the NBA Finals? And then would you rather win college national championship or the Lavelle Edwards trophy?
I mean, I think it would be crazy to think that every athlete in every sport wouldn't want to win the higher level championship,
Yeah.
right? Like, how could anyone want to win? And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll tell me different, but how to win March Madness versus the NBA Finals? That might be the one that's the closest, I guess. But I feel like to win the Super Bowl, I mean, just think about the name. The Super Bowl, like, there's no way that the CFP championship compares to the Super Bowl, in my opinion. Haven't won either of them, haven't played for either of them, but to win the Super
You can
Bowl,
still do it.
yeah, we got time. We got time. The Super Bowl is just the Super Bowl. So I would have to imagine that for every athlete of every sport, it's all about the top level championship.
What do you guys think?
I feel like it would
agree?
also depend on what your role is. Like if you're talking like you're the starting quarterback for both of them, then yeah, I think the Super Bowl would be a significantly cooler experience as opposed to like just being on the practice squad at the Super Bowl and winning it and being the man at your college and leading a Cinderella run or something. That one's probably cooler. So it probably just depends on circumstance a little bit. But
Yeah.
if it's all sixes, then yeah, at least from a football standpoint, the Super Bowl would be way cool.
Tease.
I agree. Well, obviously, Super Bowl, World Series,
Give us some pushback, bro.
that's the pinnacle. But for some reason, basketball, I'm like, March Madness would be just like, I don't know, it just is like the coolest event to me, sporting event is the NCAA tournament. And I feel like to make a run, I don't know. I feel like once you go pro, like things are just sometimes, at least my experience, like things become more about money a little bit. And I just feel like my experience at BYU was just like my senior year team. I felt like we had a good team to make a deep run. And I feel like that experience with that team would have just been, and obviously I haven't played in the NBA. I haven't played on a team that is, been at the top. So I don't know that experience, but I just feel like the NCAA tournament is like, it's as cool as it gets.
Yeah. That's the only one that I think I would agree with. And it's for a similar reason. It's the money thing, right? Where when we're talking about you're in the minors and your teammate has a bad game, but it means you have more opportunity and you're kind of like, I do like that guy, but like I'm kind of worrying about me and my next contract. Like there's got to be a bit of that, in every sport as a pro and now college too, right? Now that NIL is so present, but I do feel like more than any other place in the world, the NBA, those guys just make so much money. And I feel like it would be unbelievable to win the NBA finals, right? And have that ring and be a part of that history. But it would be, for me, just tainted a little bit by, man, everybody's just thinking about where am I going next? How much money does this add to me? Versus like NCAA tournament, you have Cinderella runs, the whole world. It feels like the whole world stops to watch all those games, those 64 teams or whatever it is with the playing games. People just don't go to work, or if they're at work, they just have it on. I remember, wherever I am in the world playing basketball or whatever I was doing when I was in school, like I've got it on my phone or I've got it on my laptop up somewhere, and that could just be because I'm a huge basketball fan, but that would be the only one that
I agree with you. The beauty of the tournament, really the true beauty of it, is that it builds up to this crescendo, and the championship game happens 2 or 3 days after the Final Four. Right. And so, there's a big difference there. The NBA Finals, you're in for a 7 series a lot of times, right?
Out,
and that's maybe one of the things that's tougher about baseball as well. That's why the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl. It's just, it's one and done.
Yeah.
And so that's what the NCAA tournament brings that to the table. It
round
brings
one is like 2 days of just like
you're just build up. It's build up, and then it's go time. And there's a championship.
And your momentum might happen like overnight. You win a game that like maybe you weren't supposed to win, then people are following you. Then you win another one, and it's like, oh my gosh, these guys might do it. And it's like,
and I feel like in the pros, usually most often the best team wins.
Yeah.
Like in
over a 7-game series.
In basketball, right? Like there's not like a Cinderella team that's just gonna like run through.
I mean, look what Dallas. What happened to Dallas last year?
It just doesn't happen. And I feel like the best team doesn't always win in the NCAA tournament,
which makes it fun.
You can get hot and just go on a run. And like Loyola Chicago a couple years ago, they make it to the Final Four. It's like, what were they, like an 11 seed? It's like they're not the best team in the country, but they just figured out how to gel at the right time and make a run. And that's the beauty of it.
What's the lowest seed that someone actually won the national championship? Would it have been that UConn team?
NC State, wasn't it?
They won?
They won.
The whole thing?
Uh-huh.
At what seed?
I don't know what they were.
Like double digits?
They were an 11.
Really?
But it might have been
Alex?
I'm looking it up.
Jimmy V.
Is that the Thurl Bailey team?
8 is the lowest seed to win a national championship in Villanova in 1985.
Oh, Ed Pinckney.
11 is the lowest seed to make the Final Four.
So so Villanova was the year before the NC State you're talking about.
Yeah, but Loyola Chicago, weren't they? They might have been. I thought they were an 11 too.
They might have been.
They were double digits for sure.
I think so.
Chicago was in there as well. So it says 11 is the lowest seed to make Final Four. LSU 1986, George Mason 2006, VCU 11, Loyola Chicago 18, UCLA 2021, and NC State 2024.
UCLA, man.
NC State's run was crazy.
UCLA beat us, right? First round, BYU.
Yes. But NC State, of course, they lost like their last 5 games, and then they go on to win the ACC tournament, and then they go to the Final Four. Like that's one of the craziest stories.
Like how many games in a row do they win? After this huge,
they're ready to be like, we got like 3 more games left of the season,
yeah,
and then they just run the ACC and beat a bunch of good teams that year, and then go on to the Final Four. It's crazy.
Your team, what would you guys have done? What did the simulator?
Had us in the championship.
His senior year was COVID. But there's some simulator out there. I haven't seen it. TJ tells me about it, though.
I haven't told you about that. I'm not like sitting here talking about
this. Before we went live, he was talking about it for like 20 minutes.
I know. It's like almost a morning routine for us now.
I'm like, all right, let's go back to 2020.
Let's go plug in the numbers and see if it still spits us out as champion. It did it again.
Who was your starting 5 in 20?
It was Alex Barcelo, me, Jake Toulson, Yoli Childs, and our 5th kind of was
Zach Celius.
Yeah, Zach Celius,
like
Dalton Nixon,
Colby
Jeremy's
Lee.
putting together 5, and they might run the table on you guys.
Let's go. I'm ready.
Which makes them national champions.
And what happened?
That's true.
Put that in the simulator.
What happened? And what did they do? Just cancel the whole thing?
It, yeah,
that's what happened. And what part? Did the tournament started yet?
No. So we finished up. We finished up the WCC tournament. We went home. And they were like, yeah, there's talks that there are going to be no fans at the tournament. We were like, oh my gosh, because just for all these purposes, that's like the NCAA tournament. It's like everyone's so excited about it. You're going to some random city, the stadium's packed, all this stuff. And we were like, man, that would be terrible. And then I'll never forget the meeting Pope called. And we were in our like team room about to watch film or whatever before practice. And he got a text right in the middle of it that was like, tournament's canceled. And that team was just like so close. And I remember just sitting there for like, it was probably 20 minutes plus. And it was silent in the room. Like no one knew what to say. No one knew what to do. Like it's unprecedented. It was just like, it was so bizarre. And I was like, worst day of my life. Wow. It was such a bummer.
Well,
but
end on that note.
Yeah, I'm
Anyway.
depressed now, but cool.
No, just kidding. All right, last question, Jeremy. I loved what you said earlier about, you can't even compare generations, right? Like I'm definitely guilty of calling, the next generation soft. It's funny because when I played, I would get like so butthurt about like anything I heard that like alumni were saying about me or my game. I was like, oh, well, they suck. And now I'm just like in the same position. I just hate on everybody that's younger than me. So, I did like what you said. You just can't compare because like our parents could have called us off, all that good stuff. What would, and I want to finish with this, what would your advice be to a younger version of yourself now, that like if he was in the world today, any young kid that's listening to this, that's playing a sport or whatever, just living their life, or a parent that's raising one of those kids, what is your advice to that younger version of yourself? Well,
I think it depends on the person. You got to really know who they are, right? And I think that's the key. I think maybe the advice would be not everybody's the same, and not everybody has the capability of being the same. Not everyone has the same gifts. And so it's about helping someone become the best version of themselves that they can possibly be with who they are. And I've learned over the years that my personality drives me to be a certain way. And I think over the years, I feel confident that my approach to life is trying to take me to the best version of myself I can be. But I've also come to realize very clearly that who I am and the way I operate is far different than a large majority of individuals. As my best friend would say, like, I'm one of one, and like in a not a good way all the time. Like I'm just a different person. So I think I realized that to become your best version of yourself doesn't mean that the way I did it is going to help you. And I think that's valuable. I think that's valuable from a coach. It's valuable from a friend. Certainly it's valuable from a parent. Can we, and my wife does this better than anybody. She parents every one of our kids different. And I'm very much trying to shove every one of our kids right through the same, circle hole. I'm trying to ram that square peg right through it. And she's like trying to talk me off the ledge. Like, no, like, hey, this son is different than this son, and this daughter is different from this daughter. And so that would probably be my advice to myself, both as a teacher and as a learner. Like, learn who you are, respect how everybody else is as well. Learn about them, not just about yourself, and try to be someone that's improving each day, but also as someone that supports and helps somebody else become who and what they want to become as well.
Boom.
Deep.
Yeah, I like that. That was
President Guthrie right there.
President Guthrie right there. Can you plug your chess name?
Yeah, but
for any challengers out there?
You know what I found out about? I don't want to play these long 3-day games. I want to play a nice 10-minute rapid game, and I'm not sure how to match up. But if you ever want to play me in chess, the real J Guts. It's my name for all social media and for chess.com.
Go at him.
The real, come at me. The real J Guts. I'm up to 1356 right now, which feels good. I'm sure it's not that good, but it
Alex
feels
doesn't
good.
know what that means, but we'll fill him in on it later.
6 months and we're having a tournament.
6 months we're having a tournament.
Yeah.
You haven't played a single game since the last time we met.
Doesn't matter. 6 months.
We asked TJ how long you have to practice to beat me. And I told him what? How long did I tell you? 3?
Said if I really dedicated myself, 6 months to a year.
Yeah. It's like a language. Just learn another language. Just really dedicate yourself.
Yeah.
We'll have a tournament.
He really dedicated himself to like learning the food of his language. When
1 seed and the 4 seed.
That was another fat joke.
4 seed.
No, well, Jeremy, thank you so much for the time. I know we mentioned earlier this is the second time Jeremy showed up for us, which is big time. We appreciate you being here. And
thank you.
you got some awesome stories, and you're a great dude. So thanks for being here.
Thank you guys. All the best.